Greetings, Marvel movie fans! During 2020, me and my sister decided that we would do a marathon of the Marvel movies. One a day, from Iron Man to Endgame. And while we did that, I think I made a few observations that I think I'd like to share. And what better movie to start with than the one people care about the least, the first Thor movie. Specifically, I want to talk about Loki's plan in it, since as villain plans go, it's quite possibly the closest to perfect, and by all rights, should have worked if it wasn't for a few crucial mistakes. So what was the plan? Well, Loki seems to have a few goals. They are getting out from under Thor's shadow, getting recognition and respect from Odin, and inheriting the throne of Asgard. To pull this off, Loki arranges a diplomatic incident with the Frost Giants. He provokes Thor by staging a poorly planned raid on the Asgardian vault. Odin, being a reasonable ruler, would not opt for immediate retribution, and instead used this incident to wring concessions out of the Frost Giants, or whatever it is good leaders do with acts of bad faith towards them. Heck, the Frost Giants could claim no official involvement, since these dudes don't seem to be recognizable. Thor, however, being young, brash, and violent, would not be satisfied with the measured response, so just a little bit of extra goading from Loki would put Thor on the warpath.
If they found a way to penetrate Asgard's defenses once, who's to say they won't try again, next time with an army?
Once they get to Jotunheim, Loki even covers his own ass by making himself appear to be the reasonable one, apparently trying to de-escalate the situation.
Thor, stop and think. Look around you, we're outnumbered.
Know your place, brother.
Heck, Laufey is being reasonable too, giving Thor and the others the opportunity to leave before an incident is created.
Go now, while I still allow it.
He just didn't know when it was a good time to shut up.
Run back home, little princess.
Dad.
After that, Thor starts a rampage, gets chased off, and Odin has to intervene. Heck, even if Odin didn't show up, I have no problem believing that Loki could have gotten his own ass out of there and leave the others to die. In which case he gets what he wants and can return to Asgard with any story he chooses. But still, he and the others get back, Thor gets thoroughly cussed out by Odin, and gets banished to Midgard without his power. From here, the most important part of Loki's plan is pretty much done. Thor is out of the way. The line to the throne is clear. Now, all Loki wants is to get that recognition from Odin, and he believes the best way to do that is to eliminate the Frost Giants, currently the biggest threat to Asgard, even if they are currently at peace. Now from here, I think the plan had been altered, since I do not think Loki truly expected his revelation that he is a Frost Giant and not an Asgardian, and thus he didn't anticipate the fight with Odin, and Odin's subsequent heart attack. So Odin being incapacitated and the throne going to Loki was probably not part of his plan, which I think might be why he makes some major mistakes later. So enters the plan part 2, eliminating the Frost Giants. Loki meets with Laufey and offers the opportunity for revenge and the big ice weapon. Laufey can kill Odin, and Loki's position as king is secured. Now, I will pause here and say that while this plan makes a lot of sense for Loki, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense for Laufey. Even if he thinks Loki is being honest, and really, why would he ever think that, what does he gain and what does he lose? Laufey is pretty much guaranteed a war with Asgard by murdering his ruler. A war which history has already shown he can't really win, all to get a weapon and maybe the goodwill of his successor. And if Loki isn't being honest, then Laufey is putting himself in serious political and personal danger, which, guess what, is exactly what happens.
And your death came by the son of Odin.
And of course, Loki would use this attempted assassination as justification for mass genocide. Okay, that part of the plan is a bit difficult to justify, but it's probably more of a rejection of his parentage, just brought to a bit of an extreme. Also, side note, why are the other realms okay with the Asgardians essentially having a Death Star laser? Anyways, as this is the extent of the plan we witnessed in the movie, who knows how much further it would go. And, as plans go, this isn't actually that bad. Events follow a logical progression and are resistant to minor failures, like how it still worked even though they shouldn't have gotten to Jotunheim.
How did the god even know?
I told him. I told him to go to Odin after we'd left. He should be flogged for taking so long. We should never have reached Jotunheim.
You told the god?
I saved our lives. And Thor's. I had no idea Father would banish him for what he did.
So what went wrong? Well, there are two huge mistakes that Loki made. The first and most important one was that he told Thor that Odin was dead after he went into his coma. Now, I think I understand the rationale. If Loki told Thor that he was alive but in a coma, then Thor might have insisted on going back to Asgard in order to see him. But saying that Odin was dead is such an easy lie to disprove, and it looks really bad for Loki to be caught in that major a lie. All that needs to happen is for pretty much anyone in Asgard to get in contact with Thor. And guess what happens?
Found you!
Really, what Loki should have done was tell Thor that Odin was in a coma, but that he wasn't in any immediate danger of dying, and he still was going to enforce the banishment. Yeah, Thor might get pissed, but what the heck is he going to do about it? But before I move on to my next point, let's talk about these guys. It's amazing how much these guys are the linchpin in dismantling the plot, regardless of how much they are in the wrong. They are pretty sycophantic towards Thor and are already predisposed against Loki, even though we, the audience, are never shown a reason why they are.
He may speak of the good of Asgard, but he's always been jealous of Thor.
Yes, but at that point, from your perspective, he is still in the right. You don't know he orchestrated the raid on the vault, but it was still Thor's actions that got him banished, not Loki's. All Loki did was save your guts by warning someone. You guys are suspicious of him for absolutely no reason. And after Odin took an impromptu nap and Loki was made regent, they went to him and asked for Thor to be returned, and Loki, rightfully so, told them that he will not go against Odin's orders. It was Odin who banished Thor, not Loki.
My first command cannot be to undo the All-Father's last. We're on the brink of war with Jotunheim. Our people need a sense of continuity in order to feel safe in these difficult times. All of us must stand together for the good of Asgard.
Yes, Loki caused it, but nobody knows that. It was still Odin's orders that did the banishing, so the warriors have absolutely no right to refute this order. So while Loki has the right to rescind the order, as he is king right now, he has no reason to, and doing so would display disrespect for Odin's authority. Not exactly a good thing to do to a guy who has only been asleep for a few days. But no, the warriors take this as another reason to distrust Loki. Granted, they might not have done anything if Heimdall didn't make them go back to Thor, but of course, if Loki didn't tell Thor that Odin was dead, Sif and the warriors would have accomplished nothing. Thor would have stayed with Jane, and the warriors would be forced to go home, because they would have told him stuff that he would have already known. But no, they tell Thor that Loki lied about Odin's death, and gave him a reason to go back. Mistake number 2. Loki sending the destroyer armor after Thor. Now he is leveraging the chance to kill Thor with Thor getting his power back. But of course, why give Thor the opportunity? You know that in order to get the hammer and his power back, that Thor needed to act like a hero. So you gave him the perfect chance by sending a weapon of mass destruction into his backyard and threatening innocents. If Loki didn't lie to Thor, Thor would not have a reason to go back. And if Loki did not try to kill Thor, or at least in this manner, then Thor would not have the ability to go back. But Loki screwed up, and Thor was able to oppose him in his own area of expertise, beating people up. But yeah, excellent plan, Loki. But you really ought to have thought things through a bit more. And there we go. I hope you have enjoyed this video. I have a bunch more of these that I want to make. So, I hope to see you there. Take care, friends. So just a little bit of extra goading for Loki would put Thor on the Warpash. Warpash. Okay, let's try that again. Oh, so yeah, the Frost Giant's name is Laufey. It gets a little confusing, which is probably why they didn't actually say his name very clearly throughout the entire movie.